All right, I'm ready. I hit record like 5 minutes ago, so.
Oh, did you? Did I say anything inappropriate?
No, no. Did
Not
I?
this time.
Did I?
I did tell Jesus about the chicken, though.
What did he say?
He's unfazed by it. He's a nurse. He don't care.
Oh,
But I told
only
him.
I'm shocked.
I told him about it. I told him that I told you about it, and you were like,
Just shocked. Just
join
shocked.
our Discord, and you can find out what the chicken's all about. Or not. I mean, you might not want to know.
You may not. You may not. But we're not gonna.
No, we
But
can't.
there
say
are
it on
two
here.
things that we talked about that
In a
were
previous
shocking to
episode.
me. Yeah, in a previous episode. So, all right, we are on
Nothing
the
shocks the
last
nurse.
one. Nothing shocks the nurse. I'm like,
Nurse is
what?
like,
That's
you put
Burry?
what and where?
A chicken? Yeah.
What and where?
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Why? Don't care.
Right. Right. Yeah. I don't know. We've been rolling today, folks.
We have.
Rolling. We are
We
on
have.
episode. We're on the last episode of the day.
All right. So apparently you've been recording me without my knowledge for our whole time. I feel so violated.
Oh, this is how I get those good beginnings of our show.
Yeah.
So, all right. We're back.
We are back.
We're back
We're back with the next episode.
with the next episode. Yes. Yes.
Oh.
This is going to be a doozy.
Sorry.
I have no idea what I'm
brain-
going to say.
This is our, all right. So this is our unscripted.
Well, it's all unscripted. We're always
completely
it's all unscripted, off the cuff.
no plans at all. But at least in some of our episodes, like we at least like organize our thoughts in some
That's
way.
true. That's true. But
This is like we have a question. Go.
basically, think of it as this is gumbo.
Gumbo. Now
This is
I'm
gumbo.
hungry.
I am hungry. Yeah, we're talking about who are some of our auto-buy authors.
Mm-hmm.
Or if not auto-buy, like authors, whenever they put something out, you're going to buy it eventually.
Well,
For
here's the
sure.
Question. Do we want to do dead and alive?
Well, does it count if they're dead?
You know,
Because there'll never be another new thing. There'll never be another new thing.
Manuscript. There could be a manuscript. You don't know.
Possibly.
But then, but we talked about this briefly, just the two of us, how many people we read that are dead.
Yeah.
So, what do we do with an autobi author? Like, for example, we've been recording way too long. I've lost my mind. That's why I'm tired. Like Hemingway, Du Maurier.
Yeah.
I will see Austen. I mean, how many fucking copies of Jane Austen do I have? If I see, like, that's an auto buy in my mind. If there's a Hemingway I don't already own, I will buy it.
Sherlock Holmes.
If there's a Du Maurier
For me.
I don't already own,
Right.
or even if I do already own it, I'll buy another one.
I mean, yeah. Yeah. I guess it depends on how you define auto buy, though, right? So I guess that could fit in there with that.
Well, in my mind, there's like two. There's like people you will always buy books from, right?
Right.
When you see them. And then there's people whose books you will always buy, even if you don't know anything about them. Like, they whatever they come out with, you're buying it.
Let's go with
those are
that.
two different auto buys, right?
Let's go with that because
All right.
we have a lot of the first one, more so than the latter one, I think.
I think. But
Yeah.
it's kind of boring for me to be like, I will buy all of the
Dead
Hemingways.
people.
I'm not buying all the dead people. What am I going to do with them? Where am I putting them? In the basement? Oh,
I
speaking
ain't
of dead
buying all the works of the dead people.
Speaking of dead
Yeah.
people, I sent you that TikTok that we were both very disappointed wasn't real. I sent
I was
her
so hoping that was
this
the truth.
TikTok, and it was the girl on this TikTok is like, so we bought this house, we've been redoing this house, I've been peeling off the wallpaper, and my husband's been doing X, Y, and Z, and I realized as I was peeling off the wallpaper that there were names on the wall,
And
and
dates.
dates. And then I started looking up the names and the dates, and I realized they were all missing people. So then I had to call the cops, and then the cops were like, "This isn't wallpaper. This is actually skin." And I was like, "I'm in for it. I'm in for it. What is this story? Give me more."
We're like geared up. We're geared up for it.
It's not real.
Not real.
That was like the biggest disappointment.
It really was.
Of the week.
Because what I was thinking was, oh my gosh, she is actually living an American Horror Story life right now. And I want to follow along every step of the way.
No, we probably should read that story though, because it does sound really good. But
did she write it or was it someone else's?
I thought she was writing it, or maybe that's what she's reading. I don't know. I have to go back and look.
I feel like that happened in American Horror Story.
I was just so disappointed when it wasn't real.
Yeah, she had us going.
How do you make skin into wallpaper? Like my brain was just like, going.
Yeah.
These are the sound bites you want in your podcast.
How
do you make skin into
wallpaper? What's that drying process like?
Well, I have a tangent. So there's a museum in Philly.
Oh my God.
That's one of my favorite places. And it's the Mutter Museum, which is like the Philadelphia Physicians College. Like it's this museum of like medical oddities. It is the most fantastic place ever. I love going there because it's just freaking weird and creepy. Yeah. And they had, the last time I was down there, which was a while ago, they had a whole exhibit of things from like the Civil War, including like leather-bound journals and books that were all made from dead people's skin.
Oh. Okay.
And the way it's presented is like, it could be a cattle skin. It could be your friend. like it was just as nonchalantly presented.
Okay. Not gonna lie. Kind of want a journal made out of someone's skin. I'm just being honest.
I have so many questions. Whose skin? How much of a journal? Are you going to dye it? Like, who's tanning it? How do you get this done? I have so many questions.
I'm intrigued, and I want one of my own.
Like, but
apparently,
apparently it was commonplace enough at the time of this exhibit that it was just kind of like, yeah. And this
turn that into leather for a journal.
But I guess,
wow.
But I guess, okay, so if we think about actually being sustainable,
that's a good word. Sustainable. Right. Oh man. Also, I want to go to this museum.
Oh, I will go to the Mutter with you at any point in time.
That
you
sounds...
just tell me we will meet in Philly and I will go.
Yeah, that sounds like a good time right there. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay. That's on the list.
It's really nice in the spring and summer because they have like an herbal, like a medicinal herb garden. And sometimes they do, or at least they used to do pre-personal pan pizza. They used to do like cocktails in the little courtyard with the herb garden.
That's nice.
Like on Friday or Saturday nights or something like that. It's a good
time. We'll have to go.
And it's creepy.
I'm into that.
In like the best way possible.
Yeah. I'm into that.
And it's one of those old museums that's like kind of like ratchet, but
yeah.
You know.
What was that? No.
That's the dead person I keep in my basement. I shouldn't say that on a podcast. Before I know it, someone will be like digging up my basement, and for all I know, a past tenant, like a former owner, actually killed his wife and buried her in the basement. Be like, sir, I wasn't alive. I don't know. I need you to do some carbon dating.
Whoa. Okay.
I think that was Jesus because his game room's right on top of me. Maybe I'm laughing too loud. I don't know.
Is that his notice to like shush you a little bit?
It might be. Did he text me? No, he didn't.
You're interrupting his gaming. Shh.
No, he's very tired.
Just text him that we're almost done. This is our last one.
He knows. He's very tired. He did a lot today. He actually did.
He did do a lot today. Yeah.
Very, very.
And if you watch our uncut video, you'll get to see him doing a lot.
because he mows the lawn. Not in this video, but in others. You might see Jesus make an appearance behind me.
That's right. Oh man, I don't know about you, but I feel loopy. Okay. All right, so I like that idea of your
skin
two
journals?
different. Well, yes, yes. Sign me up.
I can say that I did not expect you to say I want a skin.
You know, I never thought I would say it.
Well, I
never knew that it was
Well,
something
did
that
you
I felt like I
ever
needed.
even think of it as a thing? I didn't.
No, but I kind of want to touch it and see how it feels.
Well, I didn't get to touch it.
You know, so tonight's full of a surprises and adventure.
You know, it's been a long day.
It has. It has. Let's get going. I like how you define the two types of auto buys, so let's go with that.
Thank you.
That works for me. That works for me.
I may be Googling skin journal.
Oh, no. I don't think you should.
There's a jar of human skin.
It's too general to Google.
No, I put Mooder Museum in. So
Oh, okay. Okay. I was going to say, that might not be a good idea. Okay.
Yeah. But I think some of it also included like people's tattoos and stuff, which that kind of makes sense, right? Like
people's tattoos?
Like making, using people's, how do I say this?
Oh, like built-in art?
Yeah. So like, almost like to preserve people's tattoos.
Oh, interesting.
So that was part of it too. It wasn't just like sick people, like.
Right. Yeah.
But,
okay.
I mean, it was a different time.
It was a different time. Thank goodness. So, anyway, I'm still here for it. Okay.
Sorry, I'm moving. Somehow I'm gonna move on. I don't know how, but I'll move on. All right. So why don't you start off so I can get my brain out? I'm gonna click out of the Mooder Museum, and we're good.
All right. Let me start with an author who is alive. I would say that.
Are they in your basement?
Or in my walls? I don't know. Okay, yes. I'm going to start with Tayari Jones. She wrote An American Marriage.
Yes.
Silver Sparrow. The Untelling. Leaving Atlanta. I've only read 2 of those 4. But I think she is a really phenomenal author and storyteller. And she sold me. An American Marriage was unputdownable for me.
I still have to read that.
Oh, I thought you read that one.
No, I haven't. I found it at some point, thrifted it, but haven't read it yet.
Oh, it was such a good story. And then, so I read that in 2019. And then just a few months ago, I read her other book called Silver Sparrow. Woo-hoo, the drama in that book and the messiness. I was here for it.
We love drama and messy.
It was so good. And I also have her other 2 books, The Untelling and Leaving Atlanta, but she's definitely, whatever she puts out next, I'm going to get it. I may not get it on release day, but I'm going to get it.
You're going to
yes.
get your little mitts on it somehow.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Right. I feel like this is TBR Lowdown After Dark.
Oh, I like it. I like it. And when you're an old lady, after dark means after 7 p.m.
We need some smooth jazz. A silky robe.
Just a silky robe, you know.
I've got a pipe. I can find that.
Wow. I feel like we both should have had on a robe. Hugh Hefner style.
I have one.
We need to get some with TBR Lowdown on them.
I can talk to my mom. She
can do that.
Right on there.
She can do that.
Yeah. I don't know how she feel about this podcast. Anyway.
Wait. Should we both do Alive Dead?
Yeah, give me a dead one.
Okay. So, yeah. I'll take, let's see. I'll take a dead person for 2, Alex.
Alex is a dead person, though.
Oh, he is dead, isn't he?
Yeah.
Oh, sorry, Mr. Trebek. Peace to you.
Cheers to Alex.
I feel stuck on the dead people. Is he alive? Shoot. I'm stuck.
Isn't
I'm
James
gonna have
Baldwin dead?
I'm gonna
Didn't
have
you
to.
put James Baldwin in there?
Oh, why don't I? James Baldwin.
You're
I
welcome.
have maybe 6 or 7 of his books, and I only read 3.
But every
I
time you see them, you buy them.
every, and that's the thing. I rarely see them.
Yeah.
I rarely see them like in the thrift stores or the used bookstore. The next to last time I was at McKay, they had Another Country. I was so shocked to see James Baldwin there, and I grabbed that sucker up immediately.
Yeah.
So he's definitely an author. His work is just, it's unforgettable. It's unforgettable. So, and I do have a goal to get through all of his writings. Essays, magazine articles, novels, like whatever it is that he's written, I want to read it.
Well, we're going to work on that next year.
Yeah.
I realize I want everything he's ever written to have been narrated by him in an audiobook because I love his voice. I love hearing interviews with him and just, he's, like, I didn't even, how do I not, so like, we've had this conversation and we will continue to have this conversation. The amount of things that you don't know in this world, or you have no experience with, or the books you've never had, like the shows, the plays, the just general information, the history, all the things that you don't know is just, it's crazy. And the older you get, the more of these things you find out, you're like, how did I not know that? I've been here for so long. How did I not know that?
Yeah.
So like this quest to read and know all the things is very difficult.
Exactly.
Before you die, and then
before you die, right?
Skin
Exactly.
Journal.
You want to be. You want to be. Don't cremate me. Make my skin into a journal.
I want you to make me a book.
Right.
Literally.
Okay, so that's my first living and my first gone author.
Right,
Tayari Jones living, James Baldwin no longer here.
All right, so basic white girl. I will choose Sally Rooney because, and I will say that because I've only actually read one, and I meant to read her newest book, Beautiful World, Where Are You? Or Beautiful World, right?
Beautiful World.
But my day to read that just sort of went away. I just want a day where that's what I do. So that might happen on my vacation next month. But because I just want a day with me and Sally. Because when I read her one before this, who, now that I've had wine and we've talked about skin journals.
Normal People?
Thank you. My brain doesn't work. Also, I'm not a normal person, so I would never remember that title. It was, I cried. That relationship spoke to me in like so many ways. Like I've had that relationship throughout my life. Like it was just so real. Also, I fucking love Ireland. So like just the setting was fantastic. Dublin's amazing. And I need to read Conversations with Friends, but I want to find a nice hard copy of it.
That's her too?
Yeah. So it's weird. So I have book of the month versions of Normal People and Beautiful World, Where Are You? I want a special edition of Beautiful World, Where Are You? I would like a normal version of Normal.
Yeah.
I want more editions, basically.
Right.
But they don't have. I don't think Book of the Month has a version of Conversations with Friends. And this is the thing that bothers me the most about Book of the Month is when I don't mind having Book of the Month editions. I hate when I don't have matching Book of the Month editions.
Yeah, I have some of those where the Book of the Month thing isn't on there.
Yeah, or like they just didn't make that. Or like Gilded Wolves. They did the first of Gilded Wolves, but they never did the next two in the series. So I don't own the next two in the series. I've read book 2 and book 3 just came out. Bronze, whatever, Beasts, I think.
Right.
And I might be very wrong on that. It's TBR Lowdown After Dark. Allow for mistakes. But that's not the point. The point is that it irritates me that like I can't get the full series in.
Right. And that's because there's no guarantee that they're going to pick up the next book in the series.
So I've sort of, I don't know, like it irritates me that they don't do that. But then again, they do like every fucking Riley Sager.
Ugh. Those who can't see, I'm giving a real big eye roll.
Twitch.
Just a real big eye roll.
I just don't think that Riley Sager's all that and a bag of chips. Like, I just don't think he is. And
tell Bookstagram that. They would fight us for that.
People do. I don't get it. Like, it's fine. It's fine. Like,
it's fine, right. I've never read him, her. Is it a they?
It's a
Are they?
It's a
he. Okay.
The pink one. I can't remember what the pink one is. But that one I kind of liked, mostly because the twisty stuff sort of goes into sort of what I do in very tangentially for a living as a nurse. And so it was interesting with that twist.
Right.
Home Before Dark was like fine.
Right.
I like that kind of spooky ghost story, but it's very similar to Ruth Ware's Turn of the Key.
Yes, I read that one.
So, and I prefer Turn of the Key to Home Before Dark.
Mm-hmm.
And so it wasn't anything new, is my point.
Right.
This is a tangent I did not need to go on. This is auto bias, not auto not buys. And so, so he's now on my auto not buy list.
He's
I
an
will
auto
not
not
buy
buy.
anymore. Didn't know that was coming.
Didn't know
But I gave him a shot. It was fine, but I'm not buying your books anymore. I will borrow them. I will maybe thrift them for $0.25, but I'm not buying your books anymore, sir.
I just refuse to read Sager at all, just like I refuse to read Rebecca in October.
I am just annoyed by that refusal only because you should read Rebecca in all of the months.
I'm gonna do the opposite of what everyone. Read Jamaica in October.
I will read Jamaica in with you.
Yes, we're gonna buddy read it.
I've never seen it. So there was a BBC miniseries with Jane Seymour. Beautiful.
Oh, I love Jane Seymour.
You youngins probably don't even know who she is.
They don't know.
And it's great. I have that somewhere. I think on VHS. I probably have Jamaica in.
Yeah, so I'm gonna read that in October, and I'm gonna read Rebecca in April. So, just because.
I guess because we're already talking about it, we can just slap Du Maurier on my auto buy list. Yes. And there was something, and I don't know if I wrote it down, and I'm kind of kicking myself for it. There was some booktuber, and I want to say it's the lady that you introduced me to who does the conversations with her mom, and they like bake.
Miranda.
I want to say it was Miranda, but I might be wrong.
Uh-huh.
That was talking about a Du Maurier I never heard of. That sounded a bit more dystopian, like, fantasy than...
Interesting.
Her normal sort of work. And I think it was, like, a later work of hers. So I need to figure out what that was. So but basically, like, if I see Du Maurier, I buy it.
You're going to buy it.
I'm going to buy it.
Okay. Okay, so that's your no longer living.
Living and dead. Your turn. Go.
Okay.
This is our drinking game. I drink, you don't. And
yes, your living was Rooney. That's right. Okay. So my next living, William Kent Kruger.
Ooh, that's the William Kent. Tender is the Night, or whatever the book is.
This Tender Land.
Tenderland. Tender is the Night is that's
Fitzgerald. So William Kent Kruger wrote This Tender Land, No Ordinary Grace. He also wrote the Cork O'Connor detective series, which I just read book 1 a couple of weeks ago, called Iron Lake. It was fantastic. So This Tender Land is a book that I read at the end of 2019. I buddy read Hilly Reads on Bookstagram. That book was just so good. I don't think I've ever cried so hard reading the book. I mean, like, I was like bawling my eyeballs out towards the end. It was just so good.
It scares me only because A Little Life, like, I was
But it's so different.
I was literally doing
It's so different. And you may not cry.
Like a little kid cry where you no longer, you cry with your whole soul. That's
yes. Yeah. With all your breath and everything. I did not expect to love and get so attached to the characters in This Tender Land. And that was just an incredible story. So he's definitely an auto buy for me, William Kent Kruger. And also get yourself a copy of This Tender Land and read that. And if you like a good detective, series, get your hands on at least book 1, which is called Iron Lake. And for No Longer Living, I'm going to go with Roberto Bolaño. He is the author of so many books. I know a popular one that people post on Instagram is 2666. I think that was his last book. But I've read The Woes of the Policeman. Fantastic. The Savage Detectives, which made me feel like a dumb person. But fantastic. We'll be rereading that.
I love when books make you feel dumb. That's my favorite. Because you're like, how am I so stupid?
Right. I will be rereading that.
Dumb.
Yeah, it was so good. But I mean, it was like, it's the kind of book that kind of teaches you how to read as you're reading it. Does that make sense?
It's the Hooked on Phonics of books.
Right. It's like it's teaching you how to read as you read it. So The Savage Detectives was definitely a story that I want to read again, because you can't possibly grasp everything on just one read of that book. So Roberto Bolaño is my choice for No Longer Here, and it is my goal as well to get through all of his works at some point. He's a fantastic writer. Oh, and he's translated from Spanish, I believe. Yeah, I think.
So, Living, I have to pick Amor Towles because I love him so much. He's, on his 3rd book. He knocked it out of the park with his 1st book. His sophomore book, phenomenal. Like, I would let him write anything. I'd be like, I don't care. Like, just, I want to find his home and just be like, tell me a story.
I have wine.
I know what town he lives in. We used to live in the same town, so like I know I could somehow find him, which sounds really stalkerish, and I'm not actually gonna stalk you, so don't like get upset. But like if we ever happen to run into each other, just know that I'm gonna bring wine to your house, and I'll bring good wine.
Yeah,
I don't drink shitty wine.
Right.
So,
right.
I have taste.
I've got class. Yes.
That I don't have. But I have good taste in wine. Yeah, I just absolutely love his books. If you don't know what he wrote Rules of Civility and A Gentleman in Moscow, and The Lincoln Highway is coming out in October with, I think I've talked about this in like every other podcast, but we're going to do it again.
That's what we did.
And then Dead? Ooh, who's my dead person? Like, who's a good dead person? You know who I'm going to throw on there?
Who?
Butler.
Yes.
Because now that I've read Kindred, I want it all. I want it all, and I want it now. You can sing.
Yes.
But I want it all. Octavia Butler is a goddess, and I don't know how. I've never read her before, and I feel like I've been robbed for 38 years of my life.
Same. I mean, because you and I both read Kindred for the first time this year.
Yeah. I'm like, what? How has the world been hiding this from me?
Yeah, exactly. Okay, me, for the living, I'm going to have to go with Miyako Kamakami. I just must.
Agree.
She wrote Ms. Ice Sandwich and Breast and Eggs and Heaven. She's translated from what? Japanese? Korean? Japanese. She's an incredible writer. If you don't know, Breast and Eggs was our September main pick for the book club. But Alyssa and I already read it a few months back. I'm reading it again. It is just absolutely phenomenal. Her latest book called Heaven, so good. Heartbreaking, so hard to read, but so good. I do plan on reading her novella, Ms. Ice Sandwich, at some point between now and the end of November, but I adore her writing.
That's translated by different people, though, right?
Ms. Ice Sandwich is translated by someone else.
It'd be
Heaven and
to see if there's a difference.
By the same two people. 2 men. So that will be for my living. And for No Longer Here, this is getting tricky, huh?
It gets tricky when they're dead.
It does. Wait, is he living? He's alive. Never mind, that's a bad one. Okay.
Damn it, he's not dead yet.
He's alive. He doesn't count. Oh, that's harder than I thought. Or maybe I'm read more dead ladies.
It doesn't matter. You can pick
Maybe
a dead
that's
whatever.
what it is.
Pick a whatever.
I was gonna say Anne Petrie, but I don't think she has a lot of books.
But you still would buy them, right?
I'm gonna go with her then. I think y'all know how much I love The Street by Anne Petrie. And I own her other book called The Narrows. And I'm gonna make Alyssa read both with me. I'm gonna reread The Street and then follow it up with The Narrows. But she's an incredible storyteller too. She's another one that's like, how did I not know about this author? How did I not know about this Miss Anne Petrie? How did I not know?
She does have something. So she has Maria the Cabin Club, which Maria of the Cabin Club. That's a short story. She has The Street, Country Place, The Drugstore Cat, which is a children's book, The Narrows, Tituba of Salem Village, which is a historical novel for children. She's got a nonfiction book about Harriet Tubman. She's got a lot of stuff.
Okay, well, she's got something for me to dig into. Okay, so
At least according to, like, whatever this is.
Right.
Wikipedia. She's somehow associated with a lot of different things in her bibliography.
Okay, so that's my choice for No Longer Here. Anne Petrie.
Okay. For Alive, let's see. For Alive, I would pick. Why did I suddenly blank on like every author I read? Oh, Kostova.
Yes.
We've read one book, and I will buy anything she writes.
All you need to read is one by her, and you're sold.
What's her first name again?
Elizabeth.
Elizabeth.
Mm-hmm.
It's been a long day. I don't remember anybody.
Yeah.
She wrote The Historian. We're gonna read. Which one are we reading next?
We're gonna read The Shadowland.
That one.
Mm-hmm.
And then for Dad, I just had a dead person. That sounds wrong.
It does, but
What did I had? I had a good one. Oh my god, I need to like write stuff down while I'm thinking of it because it's that time of the evening where my brain doesn't work. Literally getting out a piece of paper so I can remember. Kostova and see, this is what's hard is you're sitting in front of your books.
Yes, and you're not.
Virginia Woolf.
Oh, yes.
Yes, because I'm slowly devouring all of her works. That's what I was trying to remember.
Yes.
Because I've read Mrs. Dalloway now 2 years running, and every time I read it, I like it more.
Really?
Yeah. And there's a lot to unpack in it. So I find with the stream of consciousness writing that she has, especially in Mrs. Dalloway, I find that I end up losing focus somewhere every time, and then coming back to the story. So every year I read it, it's almost like I pick up a different thing that I maybe spaced out on the last year.
Oh, that's interesting.
There's a lot, but there's a lot in it. So like the first time I read it, it was really overwhelming. And then I went down that rabbit hole of YouTube videos about Virginia Woolf. And then I read it again. And it was less overwhelming, but I still kind of had this in and out thing because my weird brain already is on its own like spaghetti of train tracks, and it can't just doesn't do well.
Right.
With stream of consciousness all the time. But I kind of enjoy the exercise because there's so much in there to pick out, and the story is so actually beautifully crafted.
Yeah.
That it's this like weird mental exercise. Also, what else did I read by her this year? It was Orlando, which is this just bizarre sort of fantasy gender bending, and I know that's not like the most, I don't know, politically correct term, but like it's the perfect term for this book. Because it's just the gender of Orlando just kind of, it's like changes throughout, and it's
interesting,
weird. It's weird and it's good, but it's weird. I'm just gonna tell you it's weird.
Yeah.
So those are my two.
Okay. So for my next living auto-buy author, I'm gonna have to go with Cormac McCarthy. Now, I've only read 2 of his books. I read The Road, which was fantastic, and I read Blood Meridian, which I think is another masterpiece. But I own maybe 7 or 8 of his books. I'm going down a Southern Gothic literature journey, and he's on that list. The Road is not Southern Gothic, but Blood Meridian, his books are in that category as well. I just think he's a master of writing and storytelling. And he definitely writes books that you need to read several times over to just really get. I don't think that you can ever just read it one time and fully get it, which is also exciting to me. And so here, I'm going to go with Sir Arthur Conan Doyle because I'm obsessed with Sherlock Holmes, always will be. Holmes edition, I want it. I want it.
You do love your Sherlock Holmes.
I love my Sherlock Holmes.
I
And
have
I
time,
love
you have
books
time
that
to go.
feature Sherlock Holmes. Like the book I'm reading now, The Strange Case of the Alchemist's Daughter. Sherlock Holmes makes an appearance, so you can sucker me in that way too. Or like I have these 2 other books that are they're basically Sherlock Holmes and Watson are 2 black chicks. So like I'm a sucker for that too.
That's not The Blade is Black, right?
No, not that. This is the I can't see it, but I think a study in honor and The Hound of Justice, and it's by Claire Odell.
Ooh, interesting.
So, like anything surrounding Sherlock Holmes, I'm just automatically a sucker for it. Yeah. Oh, just like the book that we're choosing for
October.
our October read, A Night in the Lonesome October. That's an appearance in there too. So, if it's Sherlock Holmes, I'm in.
She is, folks. She is.
Yeah.
So for living, I'm going to pick N.K. Jemisin because
Yeah.
if talk about books that make you feel stupid.
Ha! Talk about it.
Like my brain, the exercises that it goes through so that I can understand the phenomenally well crafted world building of N.K.
Yeah.
Jemisin is just, I will forever buy her books. I don't care. I'm going to
Yeah.
buy them. Even if I don't understand them, I'm going to buy
Yeah.
them. And The City We Became is phenomenal. Like, I remember when
It
I
is.
started that, I was like, what the fuck am I listening to?
Mm-hmm.
Like, what is this book? And then suddenly I was like, oh my God, I need to know what happens.
Right. But I don't know about.
I'm like, fucking Staten Island. Staten Island's always a fucking problem. Like,
Now, did you read the Broken Earth trilogy?
I read book 1 because we all read it together, and then I never continued. So now I need to reread book 1 because I kind of remember how it ends, but I feel like that one threw me off because she uses you, and I'm like, you. Suddenly we're in a narrative, we're in like a, you know, a perspective, and I'm like, you're changing tenses on me. I'm like, what? And it makes sense by the end of it, but my brain is just like, what did you do? Like,
Well, I read
it
the entire
explodes.
trilogy, and I'm telling you, I need to read that bad boy again.
I will read it again with you.
Yeah.
Because she's amazing. Like,
She is.
She's a queen of fantasy.
She is. I want to read the Broken Earth, trilogy again. I want to read her Inheritance. Like, I want to read everything. But definitely, I need to do a reread of the Broken Earth trilogy. It was just like so big brain, and I need to get in there again. So maybe we could do that for 2022.
Yeah, because that was so like I was almost tired after the first one because I was like, my brain could. I question whether or not I'm smart enough to truly understand all the intricacies of an N.K. Jemisin world, especially that trilogy.
Yeah.
But The City We Became, I was like, this woman
Right.
has figured out New York City. Like,
Yeah.
she has put, like, she understands the nuances of the city that I believe
Right.
she lives in. So she, like,
It's like her own sci-fi love letter to New York City.
it was perfection.
Yeah.
And if you have ever lived in New York,
Like you will there are like little intricacies of the story where you're like, yeah, that's Brooklyn.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
that you won't you can pick up on, but not in the same way.
Not in the same way.
It's
Yeah,
not the
if you
same.
don't, if you never lived there. Yeah. I
Fucking
definitely
Staten
know
Island.
that.
Always making trouble. Fucking Staten Island.
I know that this go round, I can't just listen to the audiobook. The Broken
I had
Earth
it.
trilogy is, those are the kind of books where I need to be sitting down reading them without anything else going on.
Yeah.
So the next go round, that's how I'm going to approach it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Dead. I feel like this is a bit of a cop out
Okay, why do you say that?
because it feels like basic, but I'm gonna pick Agatha Christie because
Why is that basic? People love Agatha Christie.
Because like you could pick up an Agatha Christie at any point in time, pick it up, read it, and have a good time. Right?
Sounds good to me.
Auto buy.
Yeah, sounds good to me.
Even if I don't read it right at that time, it's like having snacks in your bag.
I like that. I
That's
like
Agatha
that.
Christie.
Yeah. I mean, that's how, I mean, you know, I love me a good detective procedural series.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like, they ain't mind blowing, but they're a whole hell of a lot of fun when you're reading them. I love them.
I grew up watching Poirot, and I always thought that David Suchet was French because I grew up watching that man be Poirot. Like,
Right.
literally, how long has he been Poirot? Like almost my entire
Yes.
like having a memory life until the very end of Poirot, which was like a couple years ago.
Yes.
So for like 30 years, this man was Poirot. I saw him do a documentary about like the Orient Express, talking in his normal ass British accent, and I was
And
like,
you were like, what in the hell?
who the fuck is this guy? Excuse me, Poirot. And then he came out with the movie for Murder on the Orient Express, and I was like, there is no way I'm watching this because you're not Poirot, sir.
Right. Right.
I have spent my entire life with him, and it is not you.
And you are not it.
You are not him. Also, Agatha Christie is like the original fucking Gone Girl. Like her story.
Yes.
She is a fantastic story in and of herself.
Yes. Yes.
That bitch went missing.
Yeah.
Horrible husband, and she was like, peace.
Exactly. Do you have that book about that?
I want it. I've watched a lot of things. That new one that came out.
Yeah.
I don't have it yet, but I really do want it.
Okay.
I almost bought it the last time I was in Barnes & Noble, but it's never on sale, and I haven't
Yeah.
found it on sale anywhere, and you know me, cheap. So,
Yeah. Same. Yeah.
But
same.
yeah, no, I love that story. I love it.
Wow. Yeah.
I love that she's
That's not an easy pick. That's a good pick.
Thank you.
That's a good pick. So, okay.
Now I have to think of more.
All right. My living, I'm going to go with Deshaun Charles Winslow, who wrote In West Mills. I have to tell y'all to read this book, but I'm going to go ahead and tell you again to read this goddamn book. Okay? When you read that book, I want you to get on Instagram and go to my page, Book Lady Reads, and I want you to DM me and tell me what you thought about the character Not. Just tell me. Just tell me all your feelings. That book took me through it. It took me through it. You talk about messy. I mean messy.
We love messy people. Give us
So
all the
messy.
people.
But like the way he wrote that book, I mean, you were in that town. Like you were there. I felt like I was a next door neighbor. It's so great. I feel like it is a very underrated book. So I'm going to say it for the 1,000,000th time. Read In West Mills by Deshaun Charles Winslow. Please and thank you.
You're welcome.
All right. Now for No Longer Living. It's getting tough, folks. It's getting tough.
It gets hard. You're like, shit, who's dead?
Right. You know what? Okay, I am gonna have to go with Toni Morrison. I'm gonna have to go with Toni Morrison because I do want to get through all of her works. I've only read Beloved and Sula. Y'all, please read Sula. And I do want to. we're gonna read all the things. And
She's gonna
she's
fix
one where I want to get through all of her
She's gonna
her
fix
back
me.
catalog for sure. Toni Morrison.
All right, so I'm still trying to find a dead person. I'm literally going through my Bookly app to find a dead person. So, for a living, I'm gonna go with my find from Women in Translation this year, and that's Han Kang. I will read
Yeah.
any Han Kang. Do not care. That, like, her writing is exquisite. I need a new word for exquisite, but like it is just so, like, her prose are poetic, and it's amazing. And the 3 books I read could not be more different, and I loved them all for different reasons. Yeah, like that was good. I'm trying to find a dead person though, and I don't have a dead person. I don't know who my dead person is. Fuck. Somebody be dead in this group. Hold on. Someone
Difficult,
die.
right?
It is hard. It's hard to pick a dead person because I thought I read more dead people, but I
I
don't.
thought I did too.
I guess. Well, there's somebody I want to read more from. Does this count?
Yes.
And this goes back into like the sort of Gilded Age of mystery, and that's Dorothy Sayers.
Oh yes. Yeah.
So I definitely want to get more into that world. The first time, so I've watched on YouTube some of the BBC miniseries from like the 70s. And one of my old neighbors gave me a copy of Murder for Hire. I think that's what it's called.
Okay.
And they're kind of so we read that book, A Gentleman Murder, whatever you and
Yes.
with TBR Lowdown.
Yes.
And that's sort of harkens back to that golden age of crime mystery novel writing.
Right.
And it really reminded me of the Dorothy Sayers. And so I really do need to go back down that. But I remember I listened to the first Lord Peter Wimsey recently, and I was like, oh, yeah, these are really colonialist and racist, which they should be because it's
right.
like 1920s England. Like, woe is colony, right?
Right.
But once you get past that, it's they're actually kind of good. But I guess Gaudy Night's supposed to be an amazing book. So that's one I really want to read. And that lady Miranda,
Yes.
she talked a lot about Gaudy Night, and I've heard a lot of other people talk about Gaudy Night, which is in the series of Lord Peter Wimsey, but it's more this whose name I cannot remember. I want to call her Agatha, but that might be wrong. But he has this lady love interest, and this is kind of more her story, and it's in like a women's college, and it's a little, has more like feminist undertones, and I kind of that's the next one I want to try to read. It's sort of out of order, but I feel like I want to bump a few and get to that and see. And then
I love that.
Yeah.
I lab that for you.
Oh, you love that for me?
I do. Okay. My next living is Elena Ferrante. I finally.
Ferrante now. Now that you have her, you love her.
I kind of want you to read this too, because I have
it on like my list.
I think you'll really appreciate it. But I finally got to read book 1, My Brilliant Friend, in her Neapolitan novels series. She writes in the language of Italian, and I get it. All the extreme and high praise about Elena Ferrante, I get it now. I'm so glad that I bought the entire Neapolitan novels, so I have all 4 books.
So you don't have to wait now?
So I don't have to wait. I don't have to track them down. I already have them. I bought them all at the same time. So I will be finishing that before this year ends. I'm kind of saving the last 3 for when I go on my end of year vacation, because I just kind of want to just dig into those during my holiday off. But yes, Elena Ferrante, and to read her newest book as soon as I finish this series. So that's for my living. For my no longer here, I'm going to choose Magda Szabo. I read her book, and she's a Hungarian writer. Yes. So She died in 2007. So I read The
I
Door.
checked, she did.
I checked. She is no longer here. She gone. So I read The Door, and I thought it was outstanding. There's nothing like a good book that has so much tension in it, so
Yeah,
much
there-
push
it
and
is-
pull, you know, and like
Those two women did have a very bizarre
it was bizarre.
relationship that you couldn't stop
Yes,
watching.
and that power struggle, and The Door was absolutely fantastic. I highly recommend that book. So I want to read whatever else she's written. So Magda Szabo for my author who's no longer here.
All right. So for my author who is still with us, I'm feel like the basic Bookstagrammer, but I'm going Kazuo Ishiguro because Clara and the Sun just rocked my world so hard.
It was
I tried
good.
to put it in chunky book discussion and it just wasn't long enough. I was like, "Are you long enough?" And it wasn't. So,
It was
Kazuo
good.
Ishiguro is fantastic. We need to read Radiance of the Day. Like I just. He just knocked my socks off. I think his daughter is also an author. And
I
need
feel
to
like
go
that is
down
correct.
I need to go down that route too.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm all about that life.
Mhm.
We're doing that. And then for Dead, I don't fucking know. It's hard because like I would say Nella Larson. She's got like 3 books. That's cheap. We're not
Right.
going there. But yes, read Nella Larson. We are firm Nella Larson supporters over here. Oh, poopy doops. You know what I kind of want to read, and I don't know if this is an auto buy as much as like I'm slowly collecting them, and we both have them. Is Trollope,
Yes.
Anthony Trollope.
Yes.
I want to know what all the buzz is about.
Yeah. I need to read the one book that I own by him this year.
I
What is
have
it?
like a little stack that
You
has,
have a lot. Yeah.
that have just come from my mother over the years. So I just have a bunch. Those aren't. I have to unpack those boxes and put them on the shelves.
Yeah. I know because we already looked. The one that I own, you don't own.
I don't own. I
Yeah.
have like 7 or something like that. and
Yeah.
I don't own that one. But they're supposed to be like sort of like village saga drama things.
Yeah.
So I kind of want to go in there and see what that's about.
Yeah. Same.
Yeah.
Same.
I might hate it though, but
I mean, you know.
I want to go there. It's not. I haven't spent any money on these books, so.
Yeah. I mean, we should
Yes.
both read one and chat about it on the show for sure.
Mhm.
Yeah. That's a good one. That's a good one.
Thank you.
Yes. Okay.
How many more of these are we gonna do?
2 more.
Okay.
2 more rounds.
Okay. Each or just you do one, I do one.
How do you want to do it? One
I
more
don't care,
round or 2 more rounds? This is another round right here.
2 more. I'm trying to
Okay.
figure out some names.
Okay. For my living, I'm going to have to go with Britt Bennett.
Oh, I was thinking that one too.
Yeah. So she has 2 books out, The Mothers and The Vanishing Half. I own both. I read both, but I read her latest one before I read her older one.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm excited to see what she does next. I really love The Mothers and I really love The Vanishing Half. They're very different books, but I think that she is a writer to watch.
I think she's a brilliant writer.
Yeah, I think she's a writer to watch for sure. So whatever she puts out next, I will buy it and I will read it. And for my no longer here author, I'm going to have to go with Larry McMurtry, author of Lonesome Dove. I'm just going. So if he has a Western that's on the shelves at the thrift store or the used bookstore, I am picking it up. I think I own now, 6 of his Western type books. So I think he also wrote The Terms of Endearment, which was, later made into a movie in the 80s.
I only know the movie.
Yeah, but I only know his Westerns, and that's kind of what I'm focused on, and I'm just here for all of it. He died recently. He died this year.
You're really doing well with the dead people. I'm not.
I know.
Dead people. So for a live, I'm gonna go V Schwab because A Darker Shade of Magic just was fantastic. I would love. Somebody was talking about it recently, and I was like, yes, you are so right. If she wrote that series now, it would be even more amazing. It's one of her earlier works, and like that, it's just so good. And then we all know I love Addie LaRue. I know that you either like knocked your socks off or you just didn't care. But like, my socks were blown off. I had a book hanging over it. Like I love that book. I love that book so much. Again, you're talking about something that's set in New York.
Right.
Can I be more easy? I don't know. I don't know. It's easy to get me. Just put something in New York and I'm there.
That's all it takes. That's all it takes.
Nothing crazy. For dead people, I don't even know.
Ew, the dead is rough. Oof.
It is hard. Like auto buy, I feel like I bought them all at this point, but I don't know. I'm sort of on like a George Eliot kick, and I don't know. I don't know how many books there are, but I'm kind of like interested in dropping down that rabbit hole, which I think is sort of feminist, but also very anti-Semitic.
Oh.
Times.
Oh.
No.
Yeah. Yeah.
Why wouldn't you?
Well.
But, I guess that's where I'll go. I do want to read Middlemarch. It's either like everyone's favorite or least favorite book. Silas Marner sounds a little bit more up my alley. I have both of those. I will rope you into reading them at some point.
I'm here for it.
Yeah. So I like the classics that are actually written by women. I feel like even though they still have things that are problematic because times there is at least that like saving grace of you have a woman doing something that she probably wouldn't have been allowed to do.
For sure. For sure. Yeah. Okay.
Oh God, I got one more round. I gotta make it good.
I'm trying to make this one good. All right. So my next living author, and I only read one book by her. I own 2 of her books. How many books does she have? That's what I don't know. Does she just have 2? Okay, she has a few. She has 4. All right. But her 2 novels. So I'm talking about the author Nicole Dennis Benn. She wrote Patsy and she wrote Here Comes the Sun. I've only read Patsy, but I loved Patsy. I devoured Patsy. I love when an author writes about a mother in a very non-traditional way, and she just hit the nail on the head with Patsy. And also, it's also a story about, an immigrant trying to make her way to the United States. And the people that Patsy encountered, the situations that she got herself into while trying to get over to the United States was like so high pressure filled. I mean, talk about tense.
Yeah.
So the story was just so gripping. And I just thought that I felt like the author took a lot of risks in that book and it just all worked so well. So that's Patsy, Nicole Dennis Benn, and I do plan on reading her other book, Here Comes the Sun, before this year ends. So that's for my living. Now for the no longer here. Oh. Can I
I like you trying to bend something. Can I?
Because there's an author where I keep picking up her stuff because she's a part of my Southern Gothic literature journey, but she's no longer living.
Okay.
It's Flannery O'Connor.
Okay.
Like, you can't go down the Southern Gothic literature road without reading Flannery O'Connor. So I'm going to add her for my author who is no longer here.
All right.
That's rough.
I think I'm just going to keep being basic. And I'm going to pick Frederick Bachman because I've read 2 so far. I need to. The only reason why I don't own more is because I don't have the editions that I want. So I've read Beartown, and I've read A Man Called Uve. And
Right.
I fucking loved each and every one of them for different reasons. And
Yes, you did.
I need more. I just need more. I want to get Anxious People, but Anxious People isn't in the same kind of paperback that my other paperbacks are in. But
You're trying to get them to match?
Because well, it's just so different. I think is my problem. It's so different than the other 2 copies I have.
Right.
But yeah. And then for Dead, I feel like I have the last say, and I don't know if I have a good Dead one. Poopa-doops. Poopa-doops. Can I just bail out? Can I bail out and say something stupid?
Yes, because I may also have to do the same.
I'm just gonna bail out and pick Jane Austen because I will pick up 1,000 copies of Jane Austen.
That's not a bailout. You love Jane Austen.
I love Jane Austen, like with my whole soul.
Yeah.
And I probably have like 3 copies of every book, except for Mansfield Park because it's trash. It's not trash. It's just stupid. It's boring. I just need to read Mansfield Park as an adult and see if I feel the same way. But I have a feeling I'm still gonna be like, Fanny, you suck. Like,
you should. You should do that.
I still think I'm gonna think Fanny sucks.
Yeah, you should do that. Yeah.
All right.
Okay.
All right. That's it. I'm done. I'm tapped. I'm out.
All right, my final 2. This is really hard.
This is
For
a
the
fun
living.
game, by the way. This is a fun game.
It kind of is.
This is
Okay.
the TVR Lowdown After Dark episode.
All right. For the living, I'm going to go with Martha Wells, who is the author of the Murderbot Diaries series.
You love Murderbot so hard.
I love Murderbot so hard. I have reread that. I reread it this year, actually. And it was a pleasure to reread it again. So I'm going with her for my living author. Ooh, for the no longer living. This is tough, guys. I don't know if I have anyone.
Kill someone. No.
I'll be right back. No.
If an author dies overnight.
I didn't do it. It wasn't me. I may not have anyone. Nope, he's living. I actually may not have anyone.
You have to have somebody. You can't cop out that hard. You gotta pick someone. You gotta pick somebody. Who? I don't know.
Well, oh, shoot. Y'all, this is hard. Oh, you know who I'm gonna go with? John Steinbeck.
I was trying to channel that into you. It's like,
I'm gonna go with that. I'm gonna go with that because East of Eden was an amazing read.
Shockingly good.
And I would like to read more Steinbeck.
I have Grapes of Wrath and The Winter of Our Discontent.
I will get those. I saw both of those at the thrift store, but the copies were too bad. Like,
mine were beautiful.
They were
beautiful.
Now, you know I love a good, like, well-worn, well-loved book, but these were bad. So I just left them on the shelves. But yeah, John Steinbeck.
I'll see what I can find at the book barn. I might go tomorrow.
Mm-hmm.
Now that I've shelved, I'm going to go tomorrow.
That was hard.
That was really hard. And
The Living was fairly easy, sort of, kind of. Although I'm kind of regretting not choosing Natsuo Kirino for one of my living authors, the one that wrote Out.
Yes, I have it right here. I'm looking at it.
Also, like, maybe I could have thrown in Muriel Burberry, the French writer.
Can I just say, for Out, I did not expect it to take that weird sexual twist totally at the end. And I have so many questions about Japanese culture and sex now. We keep having this conversation, and I'm like, what?
Yeah.
Can someone explain it to us? Because it is, like, I feel like this very, like, I I don't know what the right words are, like refined, proper,
Right.
mannered, etiquette filled, but then also like sex is not in the like puritanic kind of American kind of sex
Right.
category, and it's just I'm like trying to marry these two images of like the
It's hard.
very like buttoned up, put together like Japanese whatever,
Yes.
and their very openness about certain things with sex. And
Right.
every Japanese author we read, we keep having the same conversation. We're like,
Yes.
I just need to understand this.
Right. And like you said, it's like prim and proper aren't the right words. It's
They're
more
not
like
the right words.
it's
I'm
more
trying
like respectable
to- there's like a
and then something else.
and nothing's. We will find the right words at some point. But
Yeah.
like there is something where they, and it's probably our American prudism that is making it not mesh. But there's something where I'm like, these feel like opposites
Right.
existing at the same time.
Right. Is it our American prudism or is it the appearance of prudism that they've been showing us, which is why we can't wrap our head around.
I don't know.
It's an interesting
Or maybe it's
conversation to have.
just that it's like a quieter society where they don't advertise everything and anything like we do. Like,
Right.
I feel like Americans are just so loud, and we.
I mean,
say
we're very in your face.
everything, and like
Yeah.
so, and so it's almost like maybe we just didn't notice. Like,
Maybe.
I don't know. I don't
Maybe.
understand it, but I'm fascinated by this like dichotomy in
Yes.
that I'm seeing as I read all this Japanese literature, which I'm loving. And I also need to keep reading more because I listened to my first Murakami, and I was like, this dude, what the fuck's wrong with him?
Right. And I only have
But the lady writers, I'm like, this is banging.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah. I mean, it's
God.
definitely a lane I want to go down a little bit further.
yeah. There's an avenue
So.
we're exploring.
Yeah, and I want to read everything that Natsuo has written. I want to read her book Grotesque, her other book The Real World. Like I want them all.
I liked the like dark humor of it. I like.
Didn't I tell you like it was
there a lot
darkly
of dark
comedic?
humor. But I didn't expect like that weird. I just didn't expect the weird sexual twist.
Yeah.
But it was really good, and
Mhm.
I feel I don't know. There's like a spice to Japanese female
There is.
authors that I just don't get from other people, and I love
There
it.
is. When you were reading now, did you realize that that character I was talking about, where it was like, how do you know how to do that? I don't know who you are. You have a lot of secrets. I'm a little fearful of you.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like you're too calm about the situation. You have too good of a plan, and you didn't have to think hard to come up with
I
it.
do think that like if you have a nurse friend,
Mm-hmm.
they would be similar though.
That's a really good point.
And like I've never had to do this, but
Yeah.
like also I'd be like, well, it's not the first body I've bagged. Let's go.
You know what? I can see that. I can
Yeah.
see that.
I mean, I've
Yeah.
never dismembered anybody, just for the record, but
Right. Right.
it's not the first dead body I've handled. So.
Yeah. So do you agree? Like, I mean, the book says it's crime fiction, and it reads like crime fiction
Yes.
to me.
Yes.
But I have heard so many people classify it as horror, and I'm like, this does not read like horror to
not
me. This is
horror.
crime fiction.
It's a crime fiction.
Okay, I knew it wasn't crazy. It's like not only does the book say it, it
So-
reads like crime fiction.
You might be crazy, but it has nothing.
I mean, I might be.
I mean, you did say you want a skin journal.
I do. Wow. Okay, that was really fun.
Just to tie that back around. Continuity.
It's all about the skin.
I just want to point out, I'm the one who's been drinking. If you're not watching the video, Naomi is absolutely sober. In fact, she's overly caffeinated,
All I had is coffee.
and perhaps she needs less coffee.
Maybe.
And don't let her near you.
As I take another sip.
If we can't find Larry tomorrow, but you have a new leather-bound journal,
Then you'll know. Wink, wink.
Where'd Larry go?
Oh. Actually, he just got home, like, right after recording this episode.
Oh, I thought you were gonna be like, well, he hasn't been home in a few days.
Thought I was going to say he's been bagged and tagged. No.
gonna be my first Kodak.
Wow, if you can tell, folks, we're a bit loopy. This is one of our marathon recording days where we
This is our
record like
last recording.
4 episodes in a day. So
We hope you
This is
enjoy
what-
this episode of TBR Lowdown After
Right?
Dark.
this is what podcasters who have full-time jobs do. We batch record
Yes.
to ensure that we meet our every Monday schedule.
So make it so that we don't have to be full-time at any point.
That's all we're saying. That's all we're saying. We have big dreams. Moving to the Caribbean, holding writers and reader retreats. This is the whole thing. All right.
All right.
I had a blast.
I had a
This was
blast,
a
too. This
really
was a really
fun
fun game.
episode. This
We
was a
need to
fun
come
game.
up with more games. Like that's what, like
yeah.
something that's like this, where we have to rapid fire come up with stuff.
Oh, yes. Yes,
Okay.
I love
if
it.
you guys have ideas, you can always shoot them over to us on
Share.
tbrlowdown.com. There's do we have a show ideas thing on there now?
Well,
Or
we
just,
have a
like, general
comment
comments?
page.
Go to the comment page.
Yeah.
And leave us a comment. We will get it in the email. We love
Mhm.
suggestions. If there's people
Yep.
you want us to try to interview, if there's books you want us to read and comment on,
Yep.
let us know.
Let
We're
us
happy
know.
To try. I need you to finish a certain book so we can discuss it.
Okay.
Thank you.
You're welcome. And that's going to do it. We're out of here. Bye.
Bye.